So brilliantly, a judge has put these quits from Extinction Rebellion in prison, which is exactly where the mental should be. It says, "Dear Voltsmonster team,
that is us.
I hope this letter finds you all knee-deep in kilowatts and hummingly smooth along the electric highway."
The riots in Leeds, actually.
Yeah, there's been a load of riots. Yeah.
They look pretty.
Well, unfortunately, now we've got Starmageddon, you will see more of that, I suspect.
You didn't connect in time. That's another £40 gone.
Funny enough, we do.
Excellent.
But anyway, let's start and then we can get to that.
Yeah, let's begin.
So, welcome to episode
21.
Is it?
Yep.
21. There should be almost a party for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, episode 21, Voltsmonster Interactive. With me today, we've got Pirate Karen. We've got a new member. We haven't got a nickname for yet.
No nickname now. As of yet.
We'll just call you No Name for now.
Oh, that would do. That would do.
And obviously in the end, we've got Virgil, who is his usual...
Yeah, fuck off, Mark. Fucking that smile. You seen some?
There's nothing like autism in action, is there?
Fucking hell. Yeah, well.
So anyway, we have many things today. We've got 4 or 5 stories, even from No Name.
I know.
And obviously Pirate Karen, I've seen it, and it is true to form. For once, it's not a cake. And in addition, we've got a letter. Hey! And if you've noticed, we've got a new setup in our studio.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's going to work. We might all hate it. And Pirate Karen's...
It's very low budget, isn't it?
Well,
I thought you'd feel at home.
You know, we have tried. We made the impression that it's not low budget. I think it out.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Look, let's just say it's a bit Totnes. Middle class is cheap.
It's like, there's shabby chic and then there's, yeah.
Have you seen what you're wearing?
It's just all Saints, I'll have you that. Look.
Cool. There's not something out Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
How long have you had it? He does, actually. He does look like someone out of GTA. One of the crims. Like you go out and go and punch somebody in the face or steal their car. So, what can I say? You've made an effort.
I made the effort.
For once. What have you been up to this week? Anyone got anything useful to say?
Well, we did put the new studio together yesterday.
You live the most exciting life, don't you?
That was. Have
you been on your BMX? I
was on my BMX yesterday.
Were you stealing someone's mobile phone?
No.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Were you doing stunts?
We were doing stunts.
Did you land on your face? Clearly not.
No, not on my face.
You're still way too handsome for that.
No. Are you flirting with me?
Always.
Yeah.
Virgil, have you done anything other than watch TV and eat takeaways?
Well, I've been doing that a lot, as you can see. Last time, I think episode 20, I was a bit skinnier than this, wasn't I?
Is this basically, if you go back through Voltsmonster episode, are you basically like a lanky, skinny thing?
Yeah,
and you just get fatter and fatter. So
I'm a very hungry caterpillar.
So you'll turn into, what's that bloke called Avocado who's got a YouTube channel, who got himself very fat?
No, I can't remember.
You'll look him up in the edit. But anyway, there is a guy called Avocado.
Yeah, it's basically I've just been eating.
Oh yeah, good. Well, on that note, talking of eating and Mark's love of cake, first story.
Yeah, what's the first story?
It's not on the screen. He's going to turn it around. So basically, we plan to put a screen up there just in case you wondered.
Right. First one. It's the P1 Infinite Machine, fastest in its class. Whose story is this?
That's mine.
Oh, fucking hell. All right.
You have to actually show it to us so that we can see.
Here we go.
Obviously, Virgil, we've got some additional things to add to our studio, which is put up an additional screen behind, because the one behind us was We used to have to look at it. So, unfortunately, we're using a laptop for today.
So this is
tablet.
Infinite Machines in their P1. This is their second round of release.
Jesus Christ!
It kind of looks like a bastard child of a
Lego.
Cybertruck.
No.
Judge Dredd's Lawmaster, isn't it? Like,
I know it looks French. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
and actually, I think my sister was really into Playmobil when she was a
It looks like a Playmobil scooter.
exactly like that.
Jesus Christ.
But there you go, for 10 grand, 10,000 US dollars, you can get one of these.
Or you can just keep your 10 grand and be richer.
Limited edition to 250 in this round. Their previous round of 250 have gone, sold out some time ago.
The funniest thing with it, right,
Go on.
is they show you it and it looks terrifying to ride, and then the next statement is it's the fastest in its class at 55 miles an hour. Have you ever been on it? Have anyone here actually ridden a scooter? You used to have one.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going 55 miles an hour on a scooter?
Well, mine was restricted, so I only went 30.
That's my point.
So this is normally restricted to 35 unless, so you can ride it on
You
an
just
AM
do what
software upgrade, and you can
Is it like a Suron where the drug dealers cut the control wire?
more than likely.
I don't
Do you
know
need
if
to
you'll
wear a
see-
balaclava wearing it?
Yeah, I don't know if you
Probably.
see drug dealers on those. They're not as.
They're not that chic, are they?
No, they don't set an intimidating.
Funny you say
impression.
that, because the rare panning is you can actually mount an accessory sound system onto the reverse of it and a trailer to carry your drugs around in.
God.
There you go. What more could you possibly want?
So it's a scooter with a trailer.
With a trailer and a
and
sound
panniers
system.
and a sound system.
trailer-
How far do they think you're going to ride?
Yeah. With you can't have the sound system and the panniers at the same time. You can have one or more,
So you can be entertained or dead.
or dead.
Oh, okay, amazing.
Yeah. So it's got keyless access, cameras front and back.
Well, most scooters have keyless access. You just use a screwdriver.
Yeah.
It's like literally bang it in, twist it, away you go.
Not very safe, are they, in that respect?
I do love the fact as you go further down, it then fits right in.
Ah, cheeky boy.
It not into the car, but into the gap between the cars, so they can both reverse into it at the same time.
Faster than the subway.
Faster than the subway.
Bring a passenger. Fucking hell.
It does depend which subway.
Wait.
Would you want to be a passenger on that?
I love it. Park anywhere. That's a new feature of motorbike. You gotta love the marketing.
No license needed.
So comparing that to other scooters in the market, which you've ridden a number of,
Yeah, I mean, it's
Is
similar
it-
sort of price to the Maven RS1, but you've got more functionality, you know.
So, but is it-
sound system on
what
that.
about a silence or whatever it is?
Nowhere near the price of a silence. It's far, far more expensive than the price of a silence S1.
Okay.
So double the price, but
It's an enormous
similar sort of
speaker.
features, to be honest.
It's massive.
Look how big the speaker is that's in the side of it.
It's got a fucking trailer. Cargo.
I mean, it does look futuristic. Welcome to the future.
Ew.
Well, what can we say? It does have safety and security matters as the last thing on the thing. Obviously, scooters are deadly anyway, so I'm not sure how they can make it safety. Although it does say fire resistant.
Yes, apparently
No,
that's
it says fire resistant battery. Well, as opposed to what sort of battery would you?
Flammable.
All those well-known flammable scooters.
I would hope so, because you can. The way you have to charge this is to take the battery pack out,
Like a silence?
one, and
Does it have wheels on it and
no,
go
it's
like
a
a
much smaller power pack, 3.2 kilowatt hours. So yeah, much more actual.
And where are they based?
US, New York based city, New York City based company.
Okay. Well, you just literally die sooner or later because you get run over by a yellow taxi.
I do like the black though. I mean, you are not going to see that
No.
on the road, are you?
Anywhere. Especially at night, it'd be amazing.
10 grand.
Is that $10,000 or
$10,000, so
Oh,
7,700 quid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is quite a lot for a scooter.
That's a lot for a scooter. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, as the resident scooter expert, Virgil,
Yeah.
is that like Thunderbird 1 for you?
It's a bit more like Thunderbird 1, yeah. Less like 2. It's not very curvy, is it?
No.
So, very hard lines there. I actually would give it a go. I probably wouldn't ride it as my day-to-day, but I'd give it a go.
And no name? How would you rate it against a BMX?
Oh no, it's got nothing on a BMX.
But you just fit your side pegs on there and do a few electric stunts.
Yeah, there's a place
It
for
would
it.
be. It would be interesting if you put stunt pegs on it.
Yeah, you could get away with putting that.
Doing a stoppie or whatever.
Yeah. No, there's a place for it. Just I don't.
Is it useful for stealing people's mobile phones?
I imagine so. I imagine so.
But too cool for a drug dealer.
Not cool enough,
No, okay.
I think.
So,
Fucking hell.
and on that note, I think we've covered it. A, it's not made by cake,
Yeah.
and B, Pirate likes it.
I'd prefer a land.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go for the land over that, I think so. But
Well,
happy to ride it. Reserve judgment then. We'll see.
right. Well, I hope you've emailed them and asked them for a ride.
Oh yes.
yeah.
And have you told them it'll excite your clitoris?
Oh, God.
We've not had Clitheroe for a while, have we?
No, we haven't.
It's,
but you love a bit of clitoris.
You can't beat a trip to Clitheroe, but
Next.
Yeah, next one.
Oh, is this one of mine?
Looks like it.
So this is another story by our friend Edmund King at the AA. Trying to justify why they don't have EV charging recovery on any of their vans. So he's now saying...
what pearls of wisdom are you dispensing now? Go on.
The funny thing about this article, which I only read briefly because AM then decided that I needed to pay to read the rest of it, was that the proportion of EV breakdowns due to out of power has reduced to about 2% of their breakdowns. What they failed to tell you is that obviously the number of EVs on the road has doubled. Since they last brought these figures out, when the percentage was 4%. So actually,
The figure's probably about the same.
so the actual number of breakdowns as a percentage overall, or the total number of them due to people out of range, is exactly the same. But AA have managed to make a story out of it, and Edmund King no doubt commented some load of rubbish about it. But
And on the auto presser, thank you, Edmund.
yeah, thank you,
Nugget.
Nugget. Please keep sending us stories that we can repeat and not challenge. So yeah, another lazy myth of a story. Obviously, the number of EV chargers has increased. Recently there was a story that said there was about 1 million.
Blimey.
Now. Obviously, of that million, there's probably 900 of those aren't working, and of the rest, a load of them are very slow.
Yep.
So, interestingly, we just had a meeting with our friends at Zimble, and they told us that at a car park in Bicester, their co-rent type car club car that's in the car park represents 20% of the turnover of the EV charging operator in that car park.
Blimey.
Because it's a 7 kilowatt charger and no one else uses them.
Fuck.
So
I had a very interesting charging experience on an Ionity charger on Wednesday. So I thought I was being a complete idiot after I discovered it, and then watched everybody else put up and make the same mistake. So there was a bunch of charging terminals in a central aisle, and had the usual tap your phone type setup on there. So I was tapping my phone, nothing was happening. Tried various different types of cards, nothing happened. I said, what the hell's going on? Then turn around, in the middle of all of the chargers, on a separate little pedestal, there was this tiny, tiny sign about that big saying, pay point here. So In amongst the 10 chargers was one payment terminal which you had to go to, select your charger, process your payment, then run to the charger to get the charge point in, only to find that it says, you didn't connect in time. By the way, we've charged your card £40. And then I did it a second time, and it's like, you didn't connect in time. That's another £40 gone.
Fucking hell.
Thank you, Ionity. Brilliant.
Well, on that note,
Whoever brought that up.
well, the question is what were they going to do if it was my mother, who's
or a
90,
disabled person.
or a disabled person?
Exactly. Yep.
It's really piss poor, isn't it? So, yeah, well done, Ionity. You deserve a slow clap. If you'd like some advice on customer behaviour and how to use EV chargers, and even to have a pay terminal on the actual charger, you could, of course, ring
Wheelchair accessible height.
Don't interrupt me, honey.
As well.
at an accessible height. You could, of course, buy a proper charger from a company like ZPN Energy.
There you go.
I've heard they're quite,
There are other makes of chargers.
I've heard they're quite good.
Must be the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Next story. Now we've basically pissed off Edmund and the friends at Ionity.
Okay.
I did actually get another story about Ionity. So Ionity approached one of a client, a friend, and said, I'd like to put some chargers on your land. I'd like to put 6 there. And the client, friend, whatever, said, how much are you going to give me? They said 25 grand a year. Right?
Per bay or for all 6?
For 6.
For 6. Okay.
Then about 3 weeks later, they came back and said, actually, could we have 10? And he said, yes.
I'm only going to pay you 25.
Yeah. He said, how much are you going to pay me for 10? They said 25 grand. Brilliant.
Nice.
Well done.
It's almost 26 grand.
So you couldn't make it up, could you? Yeah. But anyway, if you want to know how to make proper money out of EV charging, drop us a line. We'll tell you how.
Yes,
Do we not have a webinar covering that as well?
ZPN does have a webinar covering that.
On our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Check it out.
What are you pointing at?
The viewers.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were pointing at something that was broken or the light had gone out.
No.
That's what you normally do. You normally go,
That sounds exactly like me. That was a very good impression of me.
I know, excellent, isn't it?
It was.
And this is another one of my stories.
It is, yeah.
How did I get so many stories?
2 for the price of 1.
Well,
Push figure
so this is Omoda and Jaecoo, Chinese car manufacturer coming to the UK. They're actually launching UK-wide in September.
Interesting.
And if you want to know what a Jaecoo or a Omoda looks like, they're actually not bad. So if you go to the tab with Omoda
I've
on
seen
it,
the Omoda in the UAE recently.
Sorry, wait, he's talking about that is the one with the motor on. He took
The next ad.
No, that's the Trump one. No, that's no. I don't think you put it up, James.
right, pass it out.
See, now this is not actually me. This is Billy Big Bollocks over here. So what we have to deal with. So I get all the blame for this sort of thing. Rightly so. Rightly so.
Was that the one I think you put into the chat to say, Virgil, please put these up and have them ready? And
Yeah,
He hasn't done
absolutely.
it.
He hasn't done it. He's fucking useless.
It's fat lazy.
So there you go. So this is Omoda's website, and that is one of the first cars they're bringing.
That's pretty good, actually. Apart from the grill.
The C5.
Yes. But remember the
Not taken.
yeah. Well, remember the P1 is already taken because the Peel.
Yeah.
The Peel P1 was the world's smallest car. I think it probably still is. One of the things I've noticed about the website, they've got lots of animation, but in this initial one there, which before it goes on to the C5, it goes from a really sunny city to covered in about a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Foreseeing some global...
Some global catastrophe.
Some global climate.
This is what happens if you don't transverse to electric.
Look at that! Look at
It does not look positive, does it?
I think that's a petrol station in the background, but I think they've taken the messaging a bit far. And I'd like to know where that city is.
I think the Eiffel Tower, that's the Eiffel Tower, but...
They have put the Eiffel Tower in the middle of a city.
Yeah, when I was at the Eiffel Tower, it didn't look like that.
Well, the thing you have to remember about the Eiffel Tower is it used to have loads of buildings around it. And then, so there was like the World Fair back in 1800 and something, right? Or 1900 and something. So the World Fair, and there was loads of buildings around it, and then they demolished them all. So now it's in a park surrounded by a hood. Because obviously if you go to Paris, you just get murdered. If you go anywhere away from the Eiffel Tower. Or there's a riot.
Yeah, they do like to
But
riot.
you now can swim in the Seine.
There's been people swimming in the Seine for a long time. They're obviously just
They're
the
not
victims
dead.
of gangs.
Sounds a bit worrying, this. O Universe, O
Yeah.
Club.
Oh God! Is that when you were about to die? When you were about to crash?
The lab. Yeah, oh God.
But look, thoroughly interesting Chinese cars. So, but anyway, they're launching in the UK worldwide. What do we think of them? Obviously, the website's a bit strange.
There's a little bit.
I mean, it's the red works in the colourway, and
Yeah, I agree.
it seems to all kind of sit right.
Any indications on pricing on them at all yet?
Cheaper than everything else in the UK.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Obviously, the Omoda is the budget brand, and Jaecoo, whatever it is the premium, I believe.
And the kind of the aerodynamic shape, somewhat good.
It does look a lot like every other SUV at the moment. Because all cars look the same. Anyway, they've got O fashion, so you can wear Omoda clothes. I'm sure that's going to be a bit like as successful as what was Red Bull's brand? Used to have a Formula One team. My brain's not working.
I can't remember.
AlphaTauri. That's a brand of clothes.
Trevor. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the idea of like you see the old bloke
Oh, there's another one.
in the garage wearing his Mercedes hat, or he's carrying his Mercedes satchel. She's paid for £400.
Yeah. Do you know the most expensive coat I've ever bought was I went to see the Red Bull Air Race, and the weather was absolutely hideous. Like it got worse and worse and worse. So I needed a coat, right?
If you've never been to any festival, that's literally what happens. Like,
Yeah.
and it's usually either a coat or
Why is
wetsuits
there a dog?
or centaur cream.
I have no idea. Interior safety. That's why. Keeping it at a regular temperature.
So they keep the regulated air temperature for your dog, but of course no one on the outside would know that.
So they'll just go around
So they go and break your windows and frighten the dog half to death. And the dog will be like, it's fucking hot outside. Why have you done that?
Oh,
Anyway, they...
50 watts wireless.
so I bought a Red Bull Air Race jacket, which basically is like a Pack-a-Mac, but it's got Red Bull printed all over it. How much do you think it was?
80.
80?
I'll go for 120.
Okay.
Yeah, you're saying the most expensive, so 180.
It was £114.
You're joking.
But this is more than 10 years ago.
And it was a Mac.
And it was basically a
A
Pack-a-Mac.
Kagoo.
The only Mac you would buy.
And it was the only one you could buy. It was a Kagoo, yes. As opposed to like a stripper Mac.
Which used to be able to buy in somewhere like minutes for about
A
£6
fiver,
or
yeah.
something like that.
I still have it now.
I want to hear about this letter.
Do you?
I'm curious. Yeah, we haven't had a letter for a while, so...
The letter,
Good for the
before we have another story. The best bit about this letter is the context, of course.
Of course.
I'll read it out.
Well, before we find out who actually sent it, what was the name?
Dave, the EV taxi driver.
Dave, the EV taxi driver.
Dave's EV taxi.
Okay. So he's got a brand.
Well, I don't know. But he put an emoji with a little zigzag and everything.
Oh, bloody hell.
So anyway, it says, Dear Voltsmonster team,
That is us.
I hope this letter finds you all knee-deep in kilowatts and hummingly smooth along the electric highway. But seriously, where the heck have you been for the last few weeks? Well, obviously, we've been a little bit off air recently.
It's March, I think, the last one we recorded.
Yeah, so they're now edited so that we get being posted. So by the time you hear this, they'll have been posted. Did you all get stuck in the charging station with a 3-day queue? Or did you take a detour through the black hole? I don't know what the black hole is. Might be a euphemism.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here running my routes, ferrying folks around town and eagerly waiting for the latest scoop on EVs. You guys are my go-to for all things electric.
Oh, cheers, Dave.
But let's get real for a second. It's not just the EV content I've been missing. It's Virgil.
You got a secret.
I'm here now, Dave. I'm here now.
Yes, you read that right. I said that out loud.
Shit.
Virgil, you've turned into my online crush, and I didn't even realise it until your channel went dark.
Oh, no.
You're clearly his black hole.
Time does make the heart grow fonder.
It does.
He says, now I'm just a straightforward, middle-aged taxi driver. I've got more miles on me than a 1992 Toyota Corolla. But there's something about the way you talk about torque and battery efficiency that gets my motor running.
So,
My passengers must think I'm losing it, watching old Voltsmonster videos on repeat and slightly wistfully at every mention of regenerative braking.
Dave's going to be smashing him out this week.
Smashing it. That monkey is going to be getting it. So enough with the mysterious radio silence. My poor battery's going through a midlife crisis without a regular dose of Virgil. I miss the whole crew, but Virgil especially. You've given me something to look forward to on these long drives. Please come back soon. Please come back soon. Can't speak. The road is a lonely place without you.
Wow.
Oh.
beautiful.
Virgil's got a middle-aged crush. If he comes here, I'm going, I can't protect you.
That's.
Dave,
I don't think anyone.
please come.
So what do we make of that?
I mean,
Interesting. There you go.
So there's at least more than one person in the world that likes you other than your girlfriend.
yeah.
And she doesn't like you that much.
No. She's leaving my girlfriend.
That's a bit strange.
It's a mess.
You let a woman live with you, but she's not your girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, it were.
It's not.
No.
Well, we can always cut that.
Do you have a basement?
No, I live in a flat. Didn't want the landlord there.
Well, no name. What do you make of that?
I think it was very literate.
Are you looking?
It kept me
Are
on the edge of my seat.
I know. Are you looking forward to getting a similar letter
I would
from
love.
middle-aged taxi drivers?
Babs Cabs.
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
Perhaps.
As long as it's not Big John from Fake Taxi.
Is that a reference to something I should know about? I feel there's a. What is fake taxi? Or should I not ask?
You don't want to know.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, well,
Why do you know what fake taxi is?
But,
Are you going to explain?
no.
Oh, okay. I will take it as something netherworldly.
That's a good way to describe it, yeah.
Well, Big John, if you're watching, No Name wants to meet you.
Yeah.
Preferably not on a dark night. Or in a taxi.
Or in a taxi, no.
Fair enough.
Well, I think that was lovely, actually. Nice to have a fan.
At least you've got one.
Yeah, I've got one. That's nice. Counteracts all the bullshit you give me.
That's a bit unfair.
Oh, that's not unfair. The slightest.
That's absolutely unfair. What?
Pretty bullshit.
Stupid. When have I ever given him any bullshit? Exactly, you can't even remember. And you've never seen me give him anything at all. So all these allegations of such thing are just wrong.
If it can help.
Well, look at that. So at least it's not, for once, it's not other people being harassed by you, is it? Wesley is now safe.
Wesley is now safe.
Wesley.
I love you, Wes.
Poor Wes.
Do you know who Wesley is?
No.
Oh, okay.
You have met Wesley.
You have met Wesley at ZPN. Black guy.
Bold.
Bald.
I can't think. No.
White shirt.
Wesley was that memorable, you can't remember. He's the only black guy who works in the office.
Yeah, no, I can't remember Wesley, but Wesley, I'm sorry that
He's a very handsome guy, although he's from the black country, you know, where they all yams, where they go yam yams,
yeah,
and they call roundabouts islands.
they've
Where
got,
does that come from?
they've got more canals than Venice.
Totally.
Yeah, but there's probably less bicycles in the ones at Venice.
Yeah, a bit less pretty as well.
And probably less cars and less dead people. Well, actually, I don't know about that.
I would love to have that little nugget fact checked, actually, whether Birmingham has more canals than Venice.
Really? Mm-hmm. Or how many nuggets are in it?
Well, I mean, lucky for you, Mark, we have something called Google here, so let's find out, shall we?
Let's trust Google.
Let's trust Google, yep.
Whoops. Got me on the edge of my seat.
This isn't often that you want to live dangerously, don't you? I just sit on the edge of seats.
Yeah, so more miles by far.
But Venice isn't that big. Which one smells worse?
Which was that? Miles, yeah.
It's a while since I've been to Venice, but it
Venice
just...
is surrounded by water.
Well, it's in the sea, effectively.
Technically, it's a lagoon, isn't it? So it's like... Yeah.
That's splitting hairs, isn't it? It's surrounded by the fucking sea. Cruise ships drive in there. But it also smells of shit.
Only at certain times of the year.
I went there in August and it was hideous.
Oh, that's not a good time to go. No.
And I like Italy a lot, but Venice I could do without. Like Venice,
January's the best time.
the two places in Italy that I rather never had to go was one is Naples.
I love Naples. It's the greatest city ever. It's alive, it's vibrant.
It's a shithole.
Brilliant.
It's an absolute shithole.
It's never dull in Naples.
I did have a very interesting drive in Naples years ago. So I got there and got a rental car. And back in the day, they gave me a 750 Panda, right? What it could have done with was brakes. Okay, it wasn't the fastest car I've ever driven, but the brakes didn't work pretty much at all. So I did at one point drive over a pavement
Okay.
near a roundabout to avoid
Braking. Fuck the brakes.
They just didn't work. You put your foot on the pedal was hard, they just did not work.
Then.
Like, so you'd sort of pump them about 3 or 4 times, and then he would have like a brake orgasm and then lock all the 4 wheels up.
Fucking hell.
So you would like do like a huge skid, or because they didn't have anti-lock brakes at the time, or you'd spin round in the road because they wouldn't all lock up at the same time. So it's fine if they all lock up at the same time. You stop in a straight line. When one locks up and the other one doesn't, you fucking go.
That doesn't got a very short wheelbase.
Yes, well, so you basically just do
Like a spinning top.
yeah.
Well, shit.
So and you know how they drive. It's like it was definitely an interesting experience. So
Well, just let's get back on that fact. So there's more canals in Venice,
yeah,
but there's more miles of
There's more miles of canal.
160.
but you didn't answer the important point. Which smells worse?
Oh, Birmingham. Yeah.
Right, next story.
This one's no names.
No name.
No name. So the main reasoning of
This doesn't look the most interesting story.
It's not. I was
You've
more,
turned into a Virgil.
I was trying to kind of make
Attracts taxi drivers.
I had my idea and my topic, and I just was finding something to cater to my points, really.
Okay.
And my point is being the lack of engineers and electrical engineers.
Yeah.
Really.
I can vouch for that.
And kind of the direction the world's going. I had a conversation with my friend who was thinking of becoming a Sparky, or going through training and whatnot. And we kind of got to the agreement that it's a really good career to be in. And there's going to be a shortage. And you can basically, there's a lot of electricians out there who can charge what they want and are making really good livings.
Absolutely. I can say, because I've recruited a few of those recently, and the choice and selection of them isn't very good.
slim.
What you do notice, if you put up an advert for an electrical engineer, you get about 4 applications. If you put up an advert for a full stack software developer, I got 300. What you also notice is the ethnicity spread between different groups of people. And, so the full stack developers tend to be dominated by southern Indian sort of subculture, subcontinent origins, and the engineers are either Nigerian or some of them African or Tunisian randomly. I don't really know why we've got quite a few Tunisian applications. And then some sort of British descended people of one form or another, Irish, whatever. But the majority of those people in both groups were all migrants from overseas. So, and I think that says more about the quality of our education system than it does about it.
Definitely.
So without getting too political about it, we've now got Starmageddon, where the fuckwits that have now taken over are now going to make the same mistakes as the other fuckwits that they took over from, but they're going to blame them all for it. So, but there is a shortage of engineers.
Yeah.
And but there is definitely a shortage of decently qualified people.
Yeah.
And we are very reliant on migrant labour for that type of thing.
It's interesting you say about particularly on the Indian side, the bias of southern Indian applicants, and that being that I think probably my last trip to India was southern India, like Chennai and Hyderabad, and I know certainly in Chennai that there have been a lot of federal government investment into universities, particularly within the tech sector and electronics in general. So we haven't done this in the UK years ago. I've no idea. And it's obviously paid off, because a lot of the stuff which dealing with Innovate UK now, a lot of the projects there that they're sort of putting us in touch with Indian universities to try and attract talent to British business. So,
Which is bonkers, really. But on a political point, so Starmer, if you're listening, and your general fuckwits that surround you with, I have said for a long time, after Tony Blair said that everyone needed to have a degree, that not everyone needs to have a degree. Right, all they did was give everyone create a load of debt for the country, and for debt that no one's ever going to pay off. Is that if you're going to have people doing degrees, we should price the degree to the need. So if we need rocket scientists,
apprenticeships.
Apprenticeships is one part of it, but the degree, like if you want to do philosophy or sociology, you can pay for it, because I have no need for any of those things in any of my businesses. Right, if you want engineers, it should be free. If you want to be doctors, it should be free. Right? You shouldn't have to pay for an education for something that the country needs.
Because the country wants them at the end of the day, so it's,
absolutely.
So
if you want growth,
money,
if you want growth and you want productivity, why give them debt that just sits on the country's balance sheet? You might as well invest that. They're going to work for us. So if you're, let's say, a doctor or a nurse, make it free.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you never tax them, because it's like taxing civil servants is a stupid idea anyway. Because it's like having a blood transfusion by taking blood out of one arm, spilling half of it, and putting it back in the other. Because they're not actually paying tax; they're a net cost. So, but the basic principle is if you made doing those things free, we would have more of them, because people would choose to do them. Because they'd make that choice of, do I want 100 grand at the desk, or do I really want a philosophy degree? So that is my pitch for president.
You want to go now, yeah?
Well, fucking everyone else is having a fucking go, and then I can be shot at. As opposed to the sort of shooting at that Virgil likes.
Talking of which,
it's all quite airy, isn't it?
yeah. So, cool.
So you've gone to another political story.
Yeah. So Trump vows action to end electric vehicle mandate on day one. So weird thing going on recently.
Well, I think he just criticises all eco things.
And sharks.
Sorry?
Did you not hear his rant about electric boats and sharks a couple of weeks ago? Totally incomprehensible as
What?
I must absolutely hate BYD then.
There you go.
Was he talking about a BYD car?
No, he was talking about electric boats and sharks.
What have the two got to do with each other? Because one's negatively charged and the other one's positively charged.
The electric boats catch fire, apparently, according to him. So if that was to happen, you're in a boat, would you rather burn on the boat or jump into the water with sharks? And then he turned around to say sharks are attacking electric boats.
Hang on a second. The most common fire on a boat is gas cylinders. And they happen quite frequently. Yes. Look, at the end of the day, he shouts at himself in the mirror, doesn't he?
Wouldn't surprise me.
So, look, there is a number of things I credit Trump with. Like, he's the first US president not to cause a war.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing, right? But there is some bollocks that he comes out with. Anyway, so I don't know how that's going to work, because Canada has said that it's definitely having them by 2035. So that's going to be interesting, given the number of cars that are made in Canada that end up in America.
And how many times they cross the border?
Yeah, they cross
times,
something like 6 times.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know what you think of Mr. Trump. Do you think he's going to win in November?
Of course it is.
Yeah, I can see it.
There's no alternative at the moment, really, is there?
No, there's not.
It's kind of...
Is it COVID with a body, currently?
I did see Joe Biden's post yesterday, whether it was genuine or not, but he managed to get a shot of Trump asleep at a rally.
Really?
And he tweeted it. It was brilliant.
That's good. Well, at the end of the day, I think he will win if Biden is still president. Is my view.
Yeah.
Probably because Biden will be asleep. And, but let's be honest, Biden is not very good.
He needs to go. Yeah.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Anyway, what can I say? The next story is another one of mine.
Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
And I particularly brought this up because of Karen, right? So, brilliantly, a judge has put these quits from Extinction Rebellion in prison, which is exactly where the mental should be.
George, saw George last week. There you go. Anyway, these are my friends.
Oh, a friend? Since when have you had other friends? Oh, friend.
I knew him from when we was doing trials at West Ham. He's moved into the area. He's just some guy.
They're idiots. They're middle class old fucks.
Vince is not middle class.
Vince is an idiot. He should also
He's
be.
an old traveller, so he was like hit the road years ago in the 90s, and then came up with a brilliant concept for generation of power, and then
formed a company which he sold for millions. That hasn't helped anyone because they don't ever work. Because it's now called GridSurf.
But it's still ecotricity going though. I've been ecotricity customer since God knows
You're
when.
funding terrorists.
Terrorists. Yeah.
It seems a bit counterintuitive, the whole kind of sitting on roads. Or just disruption.
Well, they did cause some woman to die in the back of an ambulance.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Yeah.
That's one way to say it, yeah.
So the problem with the problem I have with Extinction Rebellion, and I had this conversation with the local of Extinction Rebellion who wanted to use our room, what is now our office. They'd used it for an event, right? And he wanted me to speak it, and I said, no, I'm not going to speak to it because they're idiots. And he said, why are they idiots? I said, well, because why don't you put your energy into fixing the problem rather than ranting about it?
Well, you have to draw attention to it.
No, you don't. You just fix the problem. Put your energy, put your money. Dale Vince has got loads
That's
of...
what Dale has been trying to do with ecotricity.
No, he didn't. He sold it.
He hasn't sold ecotricity.
He sold all the infrastructure for fixing it.
GridSurf because it was too damned expensive and there was no investment from the UK at the time to go into it and uptake.
He got like £300 million for it.
But
Yeah.
which he's sung back into ecotricity.
And achieved nothing.
And a vegan football club.
Oh yeah, and he's got a vegan football club.
So, vegan, how does that work?
How does it work?
How can you make a football club vegan?
All the players are vegan.
Oh,
And you can't eat your teammates.
And
that's profitable.
all the food there is vegan, so the fans have no problem with it, and it's got a really good.
Are all the fans vegan as well?
No.
All the seats are vegan leather.
What is? When was the last time you went to a football game with leather seats? Have you ever been to a football game?
Two.
There you go.
What were they?
It was Torquay versus
Well, that definitely doesn't have leather seats.
against Leeds at the time.
Leeds, bloody hell, that must have been a while
That
ago.
would have been a bit fighty.
2-1, I remember they lost.
Want to see the riots in Leeds, actually?
Yeah, there's been a load of riots.
The bus was caught on fire because...
It didn't catch on fire.
it was
Set
caught
it
on
fire.
Yeah, it was caught on fire. I think it was because they were trying to get some children out of a property, like social services or something rather, and the community didn't want it. Well, they kind of...
Yeah.
It looked pretty...
Well, unfortunately, now we've got Starmageddon, you will see more of that, I suspect.
There's been renewed rioting in some cities in England and Northern Ireland. The worst outbreaks of violence came in Belfast, Plymouth and Birmingham. Nearly 400 people have been arrested after a week of violent disorder.
I have a bet with someone about it. Yeah. But anyway, I couldn't have thought. I really can't think of a nicer thing to happen to an idiotic bunch of people. I know they might be your friends, but they are fuckwits.
Given as well that Labour's statement last week to reduce the number of people in prisons because of overcrowding, 5 years, absolutely ridiculous.
The interesting thing about the story, and I do have a thing with you. I do agree with you. The same judge in a case in the same court, right, didn't send someone who stole a Rolex to prison. So he mugged someone, like on a BMX, went up to them, stole their watch, right? They didn't go to prison, but they did put them in prison.
Fucking hell.
But they did piss off a lot more people. And they cost £1 million of policing or something, and they caused someone to die. At the end of the day, it's all... And obviously there is Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall, where he's a fucking idiot anyway.
That is a fucking name and a half.
At the end of the day, I work in that industry that's solving some of those problems. And we are doing something about it. They are just running around being morons and pissing people off. Achieves nothing.
I think that probably are, probably attracts people who don't really know what to do, or they can't quite. He's just kind of using it as a kind of
a mirror to shout.
Yeah, maybe.
I've seen it in so many direct action groups where there's a good intent to begin with, and there's a core of people with the right intentions and the right...
What, like the IRA?
Not quite like the IRA. But it tends to get hijacked, and the name used for other means for people who want to create a name for themselves. And oh, look at me, I'm a eco-activist, I've got my 15 minutes of fame. And
to not really actually read into what they're trying to achieve and then just turn up.
See, Karen joined one of these groups and then learned how to molest seals with a towel. Mount them.
That was a different group.
See, he's had many groups.
Just a few.
Because what you don't know about Karen Pirate is he is a pirate for that reason. That's exactly what he was. He didn't have a parrot though. He does walk like he's got a peg leg though.
Wait. As you haven't.
Well, you probably have. You probably use it as a sex toy.
I'm going to enjoy editing this one.
I'm going to say the jokers are there.
Yeah.
So if you're watching Dave and you need a peg leg...
Well, he won't be watching this in prison.
No, Virgil's Dave.
Oh, Virgil's Dave.
My Dave.
Dave the taxi. God, are you lucky boy.
Good old Coy.
So, what's next? What have we got?
That's it.
I think that's all the stories for today. Please, no.
Time bloody flies.
Dave.
He's getting ready for Dave. And why? Hang on, go back to that. What are he wearing as trousers? He deserves to go to prison for those.
It's Totnes trousers.
They're like proper tight. He's got a Totnes haircut as well.
He has. Mine's going that way. I'm growing it over.
Are you going to have like a comb over with half your haircut?
Used to a few years ago, but... Well, many years ago.
That sort of haircut was only cool in the 70s, and he's obviously left in the 70s.
No, it was the 90s. You had to have it tied back in a ponytail and then really...
I don't remember that.
Is it kind of mod style? Or am I mods?
No, it was more Grebo, crusty, like...
Yeah, grungy.
Grungy, yeah.
Before grunge.
Sweaty.
Heroin.
He does not.
No, I'm just saying that kind of era. Heroin was, in its... When
the funny thing about heroin, if you know anything about heroin, locally in Torbay, it's actually traded for hot dogs.
I remember on one of the Voltsmonster, so you talk about that.
Yeah.
And other things.
There's
lots of things traded for hot dogs in Torbay. Why hot dogs? I have no idea.
I think it's because they're easily stealable. You can put them down your trouser legs. So you put an elastic band around the thing and then slide it out.
You take them back.
Although I did see a guy stealing booze from the Tesco's in the centre of Torquay. And he was going clink, 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 and he had like really oversized like prison jogging bottoms. And then he'd put champagne bottles down his trousers. So he was like walking like an Oompa Loompa.
They'd be more brazen than that in Morrison's and Totnes, because like Morrison's and Totnes is not a particularly great store, but they made the really stupid stupid move of placing stacks and stacks and stacks of beer in nice pick-upable crate size right in the front door. And then wondered when several people at once suddenly ran into the shop, picked it up and then left. And the security guard was just like, oh no.
But they're not allowed to run after them anymore, are they?
Why not the security guards?
And obviously they don't go to prison.
It's probably not worth it as a security guard. You know, you're kind of like, oh, you know, no skin off my back, really.
Well, they're not really a security guard, are they? They're just someone to watch the action.
Yeah.
They're like an employed witness.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, what have we learned? We've learned that...
We haven't learnt my name.
Well, yeah, no name.
Well, the C5 no longer comes with pedals. You have to lay down on it.
Yeah, the C5 is no longer a lie-down thing, which has to have a flag on the top.
BMX in the C5.
A Sinclair C5.
Sinclair C5.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't go fast enough.
Yeah.
I can imagine going down like a half pipe in a Sinclair C5. That would be deadly.
Well, subscribe if you'd like to see
It's a challenge.
a Sinclair C5 down a port pipe.
And obviously, if you like what we do, subscribe, hit the bell, all that kind of stuff. You know what to do. But on that note, we've learned nothing. We've learned that Dale Vince is an idiot, and Karen's in love with him. We've also learned that Dave, the taxi driver, loves Virgil. But Mark is also pirate, has offered him his wooden leg as a sex toy, which has all sorts of visions that I can't remove from my mind.
I'm just thinking splinters.
I think that splinters will be the least of my worries.
Yeah, I think if you get a splinter, you've done well.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
The only other thing in that is you would then probably have something in common with what was his name? The bloke with 3 legs, Jake the Pig, and Rolf Harris. So.
It's not the only thing he's got in common with Rolf Harris.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a lie. This is not the appropriate place to talk about that sort of stuff.
I'm putting my foot down.
That's
I'm putting my foot down. I'm going to draw the line at Rolf Harris.
fucking hell.
Although Mark, everyone says that Mark looks like Gary Glitter.
My sister used to cry on top of the pops and Gary Glitter walked in, and I don't know why. Wave ghost.
Anyway, we were interrupted there because I've got an interview. Not personally I've got an interview, I've got to interview someone. So we better wrap this up. So on that note, again, we've learned that Virgil's not scared of splinters. Well, actually not scared of large sex toys, but quite enjoys a splinter. No Name is happy to run a half pipe in a Sinclair C5 if you subscribe.
Got to see that.
And Karen, what have we learned about you?
I don't know. What have you
You've managed to come up with a story that's exactly the same as every other story you've ever come up with, which involves going to Clitero. Sorry, Clitero. And having something that looks like cake.
No, we had to do a feature on the Arctic leopard because the UK distributor is genuinely in Clitero. So
You did an article on it.
Did we?
That's where it came from. I'm confused.
Don't worry, it will be okay.
It'll be okay. Everything will be all right.
So there you go. And on that note, we have established that Mark likes a bit of Clitero, and it's bye from me.
Bye from me.
Bye from me. See you later, Dave.
It's